Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It was announced in Maghrib prayer, and we'll announce it once more. Brother Manzoor from our community, member of our Shura, who makes the announcements every so often, his father had a stroke. He is in hospital. We request we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for shifa. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for the family. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him better health than his current health. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him shifa from his treasures. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to return him home safely to his family. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. And it's a day of Friday, mashallah. It's a blessed day. We should pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all those who are sick, and Allah grant everyone shifa. Everyone in the world who's facing difficulties and distress, we should implore the Almighty to alleviate and eliminate those difficulties and distress. And anyone who has passed away and passed on to Allah, we ask Allah to forgive their sins, elevate their ranks, and bless them with Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we're going to just cover three more aspects of the Sunnah pertaining to keeping ourselves well and grooming ourselves. If you recall last week, we spoke a lot about the Sunan, the practices that should be adopted on the day of Friday. And in general, we should keep these things in check throughout the course of the week, regardless if we're in the confinements of our home or if we're out and about within society. Why? Because looking our best isn't something that we do for people. It is not something we do for ourselves. It's something we do for Allah. And in pursuing that pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we keep ourselves happy and healthy, and also we create a good atmosphere around ourselves. So today we want to talk about a few things, and before we do that, I just want to highlight something. Many times we use the deen and our teachings of deen to point fingers on people. For example, we learn something is not right, and so we go and seek out the person who is doing that wrong and say to them, you're doing something wrong, you need to fix yourself. The deen never propagated itself to the four corners of the earth by putting people down. It actually went about where people, regardless of their situation, were put up. And not just put up, but raised above oneself. There was never a time where Abu Bakr as-Siddiq or Umar ibn Khattab, because they were Khalifa and that they were the close companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam radiallahu anhuma, that they would say, you know what, I'm better than you. They would never say that. They would rather see everyone's goodness to be a reflection of goodness and betterment beyond themselves. So there are some things that we will hear tonight, not so that we could go and seek out those people and put them down, rather to help them and help ourselves. I'll give you a small story. Once a person came to the masjid, he was a Rastafarian. He had long hair. And he sat with the Imam, and after some time he took the Shahada. And upon taking the Shahada, one of the brothers stood up and said, Imam, what is the hukam in religion of having long hair? See, this is something, I don't know what happened to our eyes. Allah gave us one eye to see the beauty of others and one eye to see the deficiencies within ourselves. And so he was instigating a problem. Unfortunately, he was half bald, so the Imam said, when you grow your hair that long, come and ask me the fatwa. You know, how dare we put people in a position? We are not here to do that. We're here to better ourselves, inshallah. So number one, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, do not wear a wig or seek hair transplant surgery. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed women who apply hair to other people's hair and those women who seek it, and women who apply tattoos and those who seek them. This is a hadith in Nasa'i, and just to elaborate, it was said women only because at that time it was something that was well known amongst the women. Till today, if you go into the Sahara or different places in Africa, in different regions where different tribes exist, the women have certain tattoos on them. These tattoos may be on their face or on their arms. It's a symbol of their tribe, of where they come from. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said this is not acceptable, and anyone upon knowing this, doing this, is cursed by the tongue of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So this applies both to women and men. Until maybe the 70s or early 80s, tattoos was a symbol of someone who was incarcerated or maybe in the military. And now we all know tattoos is a normalized situation in our world, where every single person that's considered an icon in society is inked from head to toe. Now, we're not here to talk about them. We're here to say that I should not pursue that, because I will recall that the Prophet ﷺ cursed those people, so I don't want to be. Where we find maybe a brother or sister, regardless if they were Muslims before or not, may come to the masjid, may meet us in a public place, and they may have tattoos on their body. They, through their enlightenment of Islam and guidance from Allah, feel ashamed of it. Don't make them feel any more shamed. Don't keep on looking at their face or their legs or their arms and saying, my God, what is that? No. That's between them and Allah. There's times where a sinner makes sin. I'm not saying this, I'm just giving a generalization here. There's times where a sinner commits a sin and they make tawbah such sincere that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thrusts them 100 years forward in their goodness, where we may dwell on someone else's sin and we will fall 100 years backwards. So we're not here to look at those things, but we're here to learn that if we are to apply wigs, or we are helping facilitate this, or we are putting on tattoos, we're inking our body, or we're facilitating that to happen for others, they have been cursed by the Prophet ﷺ, and this does not fall within the guidelines of keeping oneself kept, regardless how society may say otherwise. Number 2, when getting a haircut, make sure it is trimmed evenly. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu reports that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade qaza. Umar ibn Nafi said, I asked my father Nafi, what is this qaza? He said to shave a portion of the head and to leave the remaining portion. In England, we used to call that short back and sides, where you had the top is big and the sides are. One is keeping a step cut, where you keep a bit more hair on top and a bit less on the side to make it look nice. And one is that you keep a lot of hair on top and you shave around it, or to cut it very small that it's distinct. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ forbade such a haircut. Why? Because under the guidelines of grooming oneself and keeping oneself nice, this doesn't fall into that category, regardless if society says otherwise. The purpose is society will continue to make trends. Muslims were given guidelines to represent what is a trend. And when we let go of our trend, then other trends normalize themselves. So just keep that in mind. Number 3, do not let your hair go beyond the shoulders. And this is for men now. We're talking about men here. We've gone from a general perspective to men. And inshallah, this week and next week we'll cover the men. Then we'll go into the sisters. Do not let the hair go beyond the shoulder. This is very important. You would see sometimes people with long hair and they say, well, this was the sunnah. Or Ali radiallahu anhu had hair that came up to his shoulders. Ibn Hanzala radiallahu anhu reports, Rasulullah once expressed to us, what a good man Khuraym al-Asadi would be if not for his lengthy hair beyond his shoulders and his lower garment hanging below his ankles. The Prophet was saying, you'd be an amazing person if these two things were fixed. He's an amazing guy. He would be much more amazing if these two things would be fixed. So the words of the Prophet ﷺ reached Khuraym radiallahu anhu. He quickly got a blade and cut his hair to his ears, and then he raised his lower garment to the middle of his shin. What was the purpose of this? The Prophet ﷺ, even when he wanted to rectify something, he would allow the people around his friends and companions to help them change the status quo. There's a Sahabi, the Prophet ﷺ walked by and saw that he had an elevated house. And the Prophet ﷺ expressed unhappiness that we're making our houses in this earth so strong and big, that may this not take away time from making our houses in the Akhirah bigger. And so when that Sahabi heard this, he demolished his house. The Prophet ﷺ wasn't jealous. He wasn't envious. He wasn't like, I'm the Prophet, how come you have a bigger castle than I? No. He's like, I want you to succeed tomorrow also. So the bottom line in the teachings of our deen is we want everyone to succeed. We don't want anyone to fail. And for that, we uphold goodness in ourselves and we help other people get to that goodness also. And that is the deen of Islam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us firm on our deen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enrich us with the values of our deen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to drape us with the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that we can live a wholesome life and live a fulfilling life, and to gain all the goodness of this world and in the akhirah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan for your time. Inshallah we will speak soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.